I'm going to have to watch my words carefully. I decided to watch the movie called Little Children. I've been trying to expand my movie palette and decided to look up what movies my dumb ape brain has failed to witness. Seems like a lot of people recommended it, sitting at 80% across the board, so let us witness art. Okay, what the fuck was that? And before someone goes feral, this movie is a book adaptation. As we all know, book adaptations rarely hit their mark, often gutting characters and storylines to fit screen time. I had no idea the book existed until after I was done watching the movie. With that said, I'm reviewing the movie, not the book. According to some, the movie failed at representing the book, so take it as you will. A movie with Kate Winslet, Patrick Wilson, Jennifer Connelly, Jackie Earle Haley, and Noah Emmerich. And others. I'm telling you this because I had a very difficult time remembering the characters' names. This movie feels so crammed with plots that by the time I was beginning to learn about a character, the movie had already moved on to show me someone else. I've had to Google Little Children so many times that I can probably run for presidency at this point. Anyway, as I was saying, what the fuck was this movie? The movie begins with multiple clocks ticking as the camera cuts to close-ups of a bunch of dolls. A TV plays in the background as a reporter discusses how the town is upset about a pedophile living in their area.
Ever since 48-year-old Ronald James McGorvey returned here after serving a 2-year prison sentence for indecent exposure to a minor.
We learn the man's name is Ronald and that he exposed himself to a minor. He went to prison for 2 years and is now out on the streets again. The reporter interviews random pedestrians, and they all pretty much say the same thing. It's bad, it's dangerous, etc.
It's like having an alcoholic work in a bar. They don't mix. They shouldn't be together.
Why was her accent so thick? Feels like she's on The Sopranos. How much more betrayal can I take? We cut to a park with 3 women gossiping amongst each other. The blonde, Mary Ann, is the opinionated one.
Please.
The black-haired woman, whatever the fuck her name is open to new ideas.
Spiritual experience.
And the brunette is sheepish. The conversations cut in and out until suddenly they're talking about their kid's junk.
I opened the diaper and it was huge.
Huh? But right before you can digest that, the narrator introduces us to Sarah.
Smiling politely to mask a familiar feeling of desperation, Sarah reminded herself to think like an anthropologist.
Sarah struggles to fit in as a suburban mother, but is trying. Camera cuts back to the brunette, who is now talking about how she fell asleep during sex. Then she's like, my husband didn't even notice. And then the blonde tells them to schedule their sex-like appointments. Then it's right back to Sarah and the narrator, as we're being told that Sarah and her daughter, fuck her name is, Lucy, come to the playground more for Sarah's sake than Lucy's. Lucy doesn't interact with the other kids. And as the narrator puts it, it's better than being trapped in a house with this unknowable little person. So why not go somewhere else? Suddenly it's snack time. And Mary Ann scolds and lectures Sarah about forgetting her daughter's snacks. You can tell Sarah is tired. Suddenly, a man enters the park, and oh my god, it's the prom king.
The prom king.
Jesus Christ, it's
The prom king.
The women lust after him, do the whole tee-hee-hee giggle thing, and the narrator tells us that the prom king used to come to this park. And then he stopped. And then today he returned. They do not ever emphasize why this was such a huge deal. I would understand it more if it was supposed to be commentary on the women. Look how bored and miserable they are, that they latch onto anything for excitement. But the scene never really lets you sit with that. In fact, the movie rarely lets you sit with anything. Ever. Sarah looks at him, and then camera cuts to the prom king back at home with his kid. Who needs suspense and tension when we can just cut away anytime there's room to breathe? We were just introduced to the character and then blam! Let's fast forward to the prom king being back at home with his kid.
Well, when I come back, I'm gonna ram you with my rammer.
What? I don't get this scene. Why are we so zoomed into his face? Why was this line delivered so oddly?
Well,
then his wife comes home and the son takes off his hat. The narrator tells us that the prom king, or Brad, feels sad when his son removes his hat, because he feels it shows that the kid doesn't care about the time he spends with his dad. I like this, except I don't know why the narrator described Brad as deeply disturbed by this. Does this look like a man who is deeply disturbed? They don't ever mention the hat again, by the way. It is nothing of importance to the movie. This whole sequence just didn't need to be here. Brad asks about getting a cell phone. His wife pretty much tells him they can't afford another cell phone, and he gets all sad about it. Before we get to learn where that scene goes, we instead cut to night. Brad is going to the library to study to become a lawyer, but gets distracted by teenage boys skateboarding. We learn this is a routine for Brad by this point. He never goes inside the library. He sits outside and watches the teenagers.
Sometimes for as long as an hour at a stretch.
We're then told that Brad's mother died when he was the same age as these boys. I wish, and I mean I fucking wish, they underlined this premise for Brad more. Because this is the core element to his character. And they threw it away on a sentence that they never circle around to. Ever. I'm not asking them to pause the movie every 15 minutes and go, remember how Brad's mom died when he was young? But with this element, we can now understand the majority of Brad's immaturity and his mentality, frozen in grief and unable to move on.
I must have been like this, Brad sometimes thought. I must have been one of them.
And cut to another scene, no time for digestion. The women are looking at the posters hanging around town, and Marianne comments that Ronald should be castrated. Sarah abruptly speaks up, calmly, mocking Marianne. The women laugh, except for Marianne, of course.
You think this is funny?
Sarah defends Ronald, claiming that castration is too far for indecent exposure. And then, all of a fucking sudden, you're gonna catch me saying all of a sudden a lot during this whole entire video. Anyway, all of a fucking sudden, the black-haired woman tells all of them, in a very light-hearted manner, that her own brother used to expose himself to her when they were younger.
When we were teenagers, he'd do it in my bedroom, he'd do it in the dining room, he'd do it in the backseat of a car. He'd always figure out a way to do it so that nobody could see him except me.
They ask her, didn't you tell anyone? To which she says, all sympathetically, no, I didn't want him to get in trouble. Okay, wait. Because Sarah speaks up again and says, shouldn't her brother be castrated then? And it's like, yeah, shit, that's a good argument. If you're going to say all offenders should be castrated, then even those you love or hold close to you, who have offended in the past, don't get special privileges. But instead, they all just giggle. Tee-hee-hee. Oh, Sarah, you're so bad. And Mary Ann says, no, it's not the same thing. Huh? He wasn't doing it to strangers.
It's not the same thing. He wasn't doing it to strangers.
Huh? Doing it to strangers? No. Doing it to your own family? Yes. What the fuck? Oh, don't worry. No need to digest the scene because blam, something new is happening.
Oh my god, there he is.
Prom King returns to the playground. After all this time, 2 days in a row.
After all this time, 2 days in a row.
Sarah asks them what he does for work, and they kind of just say, we don't know his name. We are too distracted by his hotness. Reminds me of the top Letterboxd review of this movie. I want to ride Patrick Wilson like a bike. 4 stars. Sarah's daughter, fucking whatever her name is, Lucy, gets on the swings next to Brad's kid and screams to be pushed. As Sarah gets up, the black-haired woman is like, $5 if you get his phone number. Cut to Brad being like, you're the first person to talk to me. And Sarah's like, well, you make him nervous. And instead of being like, what the actual fuck did I do? He just agrees.
I guess they don't see too many fathers here during the weekdays.
Yeah, I guess there's not a lot of fathers around here at this time. Sorry, honey. You know the rules of living in the suburban area. All men must go to work during the day, literally every single one of them. He tells her to ask him, what does the person who wears the pants in the family do for a living?
You don't have to be polite. Go ahead and ask.
What?
You know what the person who wears the pants in the family does for a living.
Why the fuck would she ask that? But she does. And we learn Brad's wife makes documentaries. He proceeds to tell her that he's failed the bar exam twice, but he's going to take it one more time. Then, who knows what will happen if he fails. Right, buddy?
Right, buddy?
According to the narrator, Brad's forthcoming attitude was intriguing to Sarah, that he's not like most men.
Most men weren't like this.
Willing to admit his failures and not be upset by them. I'm sorry, but just a few moments ago, he told her in the most defeated tone possible, ask me what does the person who wears the pants in the family do for a living?
You know what the person who wears the pants in the family does for a living.
As if his self-pity is something to lust after compared to, quote-unquote, most men. But that's when we learn Sarah isn't a fan of her husband. I wonder where this is going. Brad's kid wants to go home now. Sarah watches them and thinks to herself, don't go,
she thought.
I wonder where this is going. Right before he leaves, she tells him about the Prom King nickname and about the bet. The nickname is given to him because, you guessed it, he's hot.
It doesn't have to be your real number.
Oh, well, in that case, sure.
But oh no, how's he supposed to give her a fake number if she doesn't have a pen?
You know what? It'd really be funny if you gave me a hug.
You're right, Sarah, that was hilarious. Marianne reacting in the background was pretty funny though.
Oh my God.
But then Sarah goes one step further, and without anyone saying anything at all, these two strangers kiss. What? They're both married. They're both parents. They're both in public. They're both aware others are watching them, including their own kids. And yet, both of them decide to kiss each other without even saying another word. They just met. The three women freak the fuck out and begin calling their kids over, to which Brad and Sarah then go,
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
well, it was nice meeting you. In order for me to get through this video faster, we're gonna have to speed it up. Everything I've just described, all of that, took place just within 15 minutes of the movie. The movie is 2 hours and 17 minutes long. The movie remains to be this stuffy yet boring the whole time. So, go gadget fast forward. Brad's kid, who also has a name in case you were wondering, does end up questioning why his dad and some fuck-ass broad were making hoochie at the park.
Why hugging that lady?
Brad's like, dude, that's what friends do.
It's a game that adults play to show that they're friends. You say, hi, I'm your friend.
Me when I gaslight my 3-year-old. One night, Brad is out at the library again, and the narrator says Brad's thinking about the kiss and reminiscing on the good old days. To me, it looks like he's enjoying watching these boys a bit too much. Does not help that he also begins fantasizing about his wife, like mentally undressing her. And then the narrator just begins to roast Sarah.
It didn't seem to matter that Sarah wasn't his type. Wasn't even that pretty. Sarah was short, boyish, and had eyebrows that were thicker than Brad thought necessary.
And then this guy pulls up. His name's Larry.
Larry?
He's fucking creepy too. He's like, hey pervert.
Hey pervert! Yeah, you pervert!
Pervert!
You like little boys, do ya?
And to be fair, that's justified. Turns out Brad and this guy, what's his name again?
Yeah, it's fucking Larry.
Worked together a long time ago. But now Larry wants Brad to play nighttime football. Also, turns out Larry is the one who's hanging the posters around town. He's a huge activist on getting rid of Ronald. So, Brad joins nighttime football. His wife is like, what the fuck, why? Justified. But these football players don't fuck around.
Guy better not be a pussy.
They mean business, for only one scene.
What the fuck? This ain't Pop Warner, Ace.
Brad seems to enjoy the thrill, but clearly is still bored in life.
Honey?
I will admit that complaining about these people is kind of the point of their character. They're blindly chasing their indulgences and avoiding their responsibilities. They just want to be kids again. Unfortunately, the movie does not let you, nor wants you, to linger on thoughts. Any of them. Just twirl within the whirlwind of chaos and see where you land. And guess where you land? Stinkoville, Population 1, this movie. I was really high as I wrote this script, so Larry's been spying and harassing Ronald, even stalking him outside of his house at night. Committed to the bit, I guess. Brad's like, hey, oh, what the fuck? Brad goes home to do sex to his wife. But their kid is like, I think the fuck not, and Brad does no sex to his wife. At the end of the scene, the kid actually opens his eyes before realizing the scene is still going and quickly shuts them again. That was cute. Sarah's more unhappy. Sarah's husband is addicted to beating his meat. Like I'm a fucking butcher! Specifically, he enjoys punking to this one cam girl in particular, like he's Ashton Kutcher. Dude's dedicated to her and everything, and goes out of his way to buy her undergarments. Soiled, of course. Sneef sneef, and Sarah finds out. But she doesn't really do anything about it. She's like, ew, yuckers, and then we move on. So, take that, dick. Black hair woman stumbles across Sarah, and they chat. Black hair woman is clearly uncomfortable with Sarah after she, publicly swapped spit with a stranger. This then leads to some really poor acting.
I didn't mean to kiss him. I don't even know how it happened. Go, Mike's gonna worry.
Ashton Kutcher wants to discuss his butcher addiction, but Sarah walks off. Sarah orders a smoking hot bathing suit so she can look smoking hot at the public pool. All for Brad, of course. Brad's wife talks about work.
There's something in this family story that really got to me.
Talks about his kid's dead dad and how the dad was a big believer in trying new things. Brad's like, try new things, you say? You're right, I will cheat on you. So Brad and Sarah try this new thing called being horrible people. Sarah's like, hey, this was awesome sauce. And Brad's like, indeed. She's like, I can tell you're nervous about a football game. And he's like, yeah, I haven't played for a while. Love is in the air. While they've been actively cheating together, pedophile update. He got in the pool. Everyone screams and gets out of the water. You've seen Jaws? Whole time he's snooping. Get this pervert out of here.
I was only trying to cool off!
Me when I'm caught shitting in the freezer. Pedophile update too. We meet his mother. And this is one of the few times I'll be serious about this movie. The actress who plays as Ronald's mother does a fantastic job here. She knows what he's done. She knows of his history, his thoughts, his feelings, and with that, she's given the controversial task of a parent. Can you still love someone after they've done something egregious? How egregious does it have to be for you to not be able to love someone? And is it still worth loving them? Her character's flaw is simple. She loves her son unconditionally. Is she preachy about it? Sure fucking is. She pushes for him to go out and try dating. Preferably women his own age.
Maybe if you found a girlfriend closer to your own age.
He agrees, and they have this moment where she begins listing off his positive traits. And he softly asks her to list off another, and it's weird at first, before you realize this man has probably never heard a compliment from someone before, except his mother. They're not even solid compliments either. It's just like, hey, you eat your food when I feed you.
You always eat what I put in front of you. You never complain.
As he's leaving his house, we see the harassment has significantly increased. He pays no mind to it and continues on. And then it cuts to everyone playing football. It's intense. Everyone stares each other down. The ref blows the whistle, and here we go. Oh, never mind. Let's actually cut away to a phone call. It's not like this football game has been built up over time. No. The phone call between Jennifer's character and her mother is more important. The mother is like, Brad's not home. He's like your father. And she's like, oh my god, no he's not. Meanwhile, yes he is. The mom tells her she'll come over to watch the boys and will even give her some extra money. The mom knows what's up. Brad's a scumbag. But the football team likes Brad now, even though they lost. Oh, I forgot to mention, the football team are all off-duty police members, and Larry is jealous that they like Brad now. It is such an unnecessary, almost stupid development. I get they're trying to say he's very insecure, but this doesn't ever go anywhere. Larry loathes himself and is full of self-pity. Brad decides to change the topic and brings up the pervert and how he went into the public pool. Larry fucking loses it and floors it down the road.
Jesus Christ, that little fucking weasel!
He pulls up to Ronald's house and begins harassing him and his mother in the middle of the night. Ronald's mom calls Larry a bully.
You're a bully!
And Larry looks devastated for whatever reason. Like he spray painted their sidewalk. He's taping posters directly to their front fucking door. And then she's like, you're a bully. And he's like, what? And then she's like, my Ronnie would never do what he did.
My Ronnie would never do what he did. That poor child at the mall. What you did to him.
And that's when we find out Larry shot a kid.
Kablamo!
He went to the mall to respond to a terrorist threat when he was still a cop. The terrorist threat was actually a boy holding an airsoft gun, pretending it was real. But Larry panicked, and he pulled the trigger. Now, compare that to Ronald, who's a re-offending pedophile who once exposed himself to children. Larry was caught in what he thought was a life-or-death intense scenario. Ronald was just getting his rocks off.
Like I'm a fucking butcher!
So never mind, found the mother's actual flaw. She's dumb as a bag of bricks. Jen's character is editing a documentary. Sarah has joined a book club, but so has Marianne. I love this one moment where Marianne talks about how the book character had a choice not to cheat on her husband, and Sarah stares daggers at her. So, Sarah takes her to school with her epic college essay that some student wrote and definitely went, this needed to be in a Hollywood script. So, I totally fucking forgot that one of the ladies straight up says,
I'm not sure if you know this, but Sarah has a PhD in English Lit.
Just a master's. I never wrote my dissertation.
We proceed to hear Sarah give her lukewarm monologue, and it's pretty much, she cheated because she's a good person in a bad world. That face when we live in a society. What gets me is the montage of all of the ladies looking up one by one and smiling. They've all read this book, and yet you're telling me Sarah is the only one who's like, yeah, the woman is cheating because she's miserable.
PhD in English Lit.
Again, as she rants, all of them, Mary Ann included, gives her this look of like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Then, wait for it.
My professors would kill me for even thinking this, but in her own strange way, Emma Bovary is a feminist.
Give me a fucking break! Your college professors would have killed you for claiming a rebellious woman is a feminist? How daring! Mary Ann tells her off indirectly, and the scene ends. Let's move on. There's still a whole hour left of this movie. What's that? How has it been 1 hour and 17 minutes and nothing has really happened except for the affairs and some football? Great question. Anyways, Sarah goes a bit off the rails and starts spying on Brad. She can't get enough. What do you mean she has to wait a whole weekend until she sees him again? After all this time, 2 days in a row. Now she sat in her car outside Brad's house. Once they're together again, Brad's like, yo, I'm gonna fail this shit, and does not care at all. And by this point, I'll be honest, I just straight up hate his character. I get he's trapped in his own life, but Jennifer's character, as you could tell I've remembered her name, deserves to beat him to death with her fists or even large sticks with rocks tied to them. Seriously, imagine thinking your partner is studying hard to become a lawyer while you yourself also bust your ass in your career. This entire time, you're optimistically hopeful of them getting a job because the finances are becoming that hefty. You have one job, Brad has 0 job. So it's up to you to put the bread on the table. Except he's never even studied a single page. And he's been screwing another person behind your back the entire time. She defended him earlier in the movie too.
Honey, they're all the same.
Well, he's not.
Again, attack him, Jennifer Connelly. Here, use this large hammer I had in my back pocket. Take that. On the day of his exam, she is extremely optimistic, while he tells her, don't get your hopes up.
Don't get your hopes up.
She then drops him off at the exams, and once she pulls away, fucking Sarah pulls up and immediately picks him up. Oof. Then they go on a date together and they have nonstop smoochy. Cut to Ronnie preparing to go on a date. He ends up on a date with this woman, and hey, doesn't she look familiar? Like I've seen her play a depressing role in another much more horrific movie? Nah, never mind. So the date goes fine, I guess. They bond over mental health and being medicated, and then they leave the restaurant. I wonder where this is going. You guessed it, he makes her watch him jerk off in the car. No redemption arc for Ronnie. Bad Ronnie. Jen, and I'm just going to call her Jen at this point, I have given up. So Jen begins to become suspicious about Brad, and her mother begins shadowing him. For some reason, the woman who is babysitting Sarah's daughter suddenly catches on that she's cheating, and wants nothing to do with her. Now, on paper, that makes sense. But in the movie, Sarah walks in, and both characters are happy. The woman asks how the trip was, and Sarah answers nonchalantly. Then the woman immediately turns sour and refuses to take Sarah's money. I rewinded through the movie twice, and I still don't get it. The scene just does not make sense. Yeah, obviously, the implication is that she knows Sarah's cheating. But she greets her happily.
Oh, look who's back. Oh, hi.
Then out of nowhere, it's like she sees something or has a vision, and then gets all silent and abruptly leaves. Sarah even asks, what's good, but no answer. Just, your child is a wonderful child.
Yeah, she's a wonderful child.
And storms off. Jen invites Sarah over for a double date. Jen gets under the table and looks at Sarah's feet. Blue nail polish. Whore! With this, Jen now knows something is up between these two. She sicks her mom on Brad as a potential cockblock, but he goes out one night for football. Ma's too tired, and Jen coldly goes, looks like you're on your own.
Looks like you're on your own.
Dumbass, why not you go with him? And turns out it's another big game. This time we actually see what happens throughout the game, and I could not fucking care less. And so the police team wins. Sarah goes fucking insane in the bleachers. Oh, by the way, Sarah magically teleported here. Plot said so. Nothing we can do about it, boss. She rushes to Field and Brad's like, wow, life is perfect. We should run away together. And at first, she's like, this isn't real. This fucking love relationship shit. We're living in pure fantasies. And he's like, but you believe in me.
What is this?
You believe in me.
And she instantly changes her mind. Okay. And they plan to run away. Again, they have entire families in their own lives. Yet, they're like, this hot fling is epic. Let's traumatize and ruin our children's lives by abandoning them. Larry remains jealous. He waits at a bar to celebrate their big win, but Brad never shows up. Drunk and frustrated, he pulls up at Ronald's house and begins harassing the family. Ronnie's mom comes out, is like, get off my lawn, and then fucking dies to hell. Larry the Terrible over here killing kids and grandmas.
Kablamo!
Okay, well technically she's still alive at the moment, but she eventually passes away. But before she passes, we see her write Ronnie on a piece of paper, and then Larry feels sad for harassing a family to death. Watching Ronnie listen to the hospital staff tell them what they're going to do with his mother's body is so fucking depressing, man. This is one of the few times that the movie lets you sit with all of the events that took place. There's no music, there's no rushing, there's no intense emotional strings, just the muffled voices of doctors and Ronnie's blank stare, unable to process everything at once. The one and only woman who ever cared and loved for him is gone. Jackie Earle Haley does well in this role. He's not just playing a creepy pedophile. He's playing a 48-year-old mentally ill man who was diagnosed with a psychosexual disorder.
I have a psychosexual disorder.
And is severely age-regressed, along with many other things. Ronnie gets dropped off at home by a taxi, and the first shot we see is of his mother's shoes. You get this overwhelming feeling of grief, like a lump in your throat. And we see Ronnie pull out the paper that his mother was writing on. He hesitates to open it, and instead, he goes downstairs and he washes the dishes.
Who's gonna cook for you? Who's gonna wash the dishes?
I can wash the dishes.
You never washed a dish in your life.
I could do it if I had to.
But afterwards, his mind goes right back to thinking about the letter. He sits down, slowly opens the envelope, and we finally see she wrote, "Please be a good boy." Ronnie finally breaks down. He shatters everything in the room as he sobs and screams. Brad and Sarah plan out how they're going to run away, and finally they pull the trigger. Sarah grabs her kid. Wait, the kid's coming with? She's just fucking kidnapping her child. Wait, even funnier though, Brad does abandon his child. Fuck no, I don't want to bring you along, dumbass kid. Keep your stupid fucking hat. Does he know Sarah's bringing her child along? They never discuss it. Is he going into this not realizing that? Thank God we didn't bring our children. Who the fuck is that? Anyway, so Big Dog's about to bounce. Cut back to Ronnie, and he shakingly grabs a knife. Cut back to Sarah. She's at the playground waiting for Brad. Cut back to Larry. He's outside Ronnie's house. Cut to him breaking into Ronnie's house. He knocks, and the door opens, and he's like, well, I better just walk in. Cut to Brad. He's rushing down the sidewalk with a suitcase of things. Cut to Sarah. She looks scared. A guy just stumbled into the playground behind her. It's Ronnie, somehow, and he's holding his arm under his shirt. We can hear him whimpering. Something happened. Cut to Brad. He's, still running. Also, by the way, I know it might come off like overwhelming that I'm like, cut back to this, cut back to that, cut back to this. The movie literally does this. They kind of shove all of these last-minute plots together and make them all intersect and weave together. It's frustrating because it just doesn't work. But anyway, suddenly, Brad stops by the skate park to watch the teenagers skateboard some more. And then one of them is like, hey dude, skateboarding is not difficult. Hooray for skateboarding. You should do skateboarding.
How about you take a run?
What? Yeah, give it a shot. See what happens.
You guys are crazy. I can't do that.
It's not about that. It's about skating.
Fucking 12 out of 10 speech, brosif. And so Brad drops everything so he can ride a skateboard one time. Yeah, sure, he could go buy one and do this literally whenever the fuck he wanted. But no. Right now, while he's sprinting away from home and abandoning his family, he should do the skateboarding. So he does, and apparently eats shit and knocks himself out. Cut to Sarah. She's waiting for her prince in shitty armor to appear so they can start their lives, but begins to approach Ronnie, who is still audibly sobbing. Sarah asks what's up, and Ronnie barely can speak. He only mutters out that his mother's now gone. Then all of a sudden, her child vanishes, like the Dark Knight. Okay, pause. Do you see what I mean? This movie never lets us sit with anything. Anyway, Sarah runs around yelling her name, and then runs into the street screaming for her child, and then stops to do this stare into the sky and dramatically scream. Lucy! You're in a suburban neighborhood. You mean to tell me people aren't waking up from this woman screeching? Oh, by the way, there she is. Found her. She's just looking at a streetlight. I'm not making this up. It's not like 10 minutes later in the movie that, nope. It happens immediately afterwards. Sarah screams for her daughter a few times, runs out into the street, and she looks down this road, then looks to the other road, and finally looks into the sky and screams. Then she looks back down the road she just looked down the first time and is like, oh, she's right there. What the fuck ever. Feeling overwhelmed and stressed, she scoops her daughter up and back into the car. She begins to sob, and Lucy's like, it's okay, Mom. Sarah goes, Lucy. And then follows it up with, you know what? Let's go home. And they drive home. And then we cut to Brad as he wakes up, and the teens are like, dude, you're awesome sauce. And he's like, wow, really? Okay, awesome. I don't feel like cheating on my wife anymore.
Could you call my wife?
And the ambulance takes him home. Cut back to Ronnie, and all of a sudden, Larry somehow appears. How did he know to come to this park? Whatever. He looks down and discovers there's blood dripping from Ronnie. Larry is like, what the fuck? And this is when we discover, at least the heavy implication, that Ronnie, the pervert, has castrated himself so that he doesn't hurt anyone anymore. Get it? Because they kept talking about castrations in the movie? Full circle.
You think this is funny?
Genuinely made me go, what the fuck? Larry gets Ronnie into his car and races him to the hospital.
He knew Ronnie had done some bad things in the past. But so had Larry.
And that's it for both of those characters. It's like the movie went, there you go, look how fast Larry was redeemed, and the mentally ill man can't use his penis, so happy endings for everyone, the end. Who needs complex development for complex characters when we could just put in caps lock, the end, smiley face. And so the audience, that's you by the way, is supposed to go, aw, happy endings for everyone. Turns out no families were destroyed. As long as both Sarah and Brad never ever ever tell anyone about their secrets, and as long as all the neighbors don't tell anyone about their secrets, and as long as their children don't ever tell anyone about their secrets, then no families are destroyed. Except for Ronald's family. But fuck the mentally ill, am I right? Shit happens. At least the cheaters get to have a happy ending. I decided to look up reviews, and everyone is saying this movie's a masterpiece. They circle jerk the fact that it's a satirical black comedy, as if that voids any and all criticism, but I don't know. I mean, the concept of it being satirical was quite clear, but I don't know if this really should have become a movie in the first place. I hate to have this take, but this might have done better if it was episodic. I understand that we're not supposed to cheer on or side with any of these characters, that they're all experiencing and reacting to their own tragedies, which is then bundled up in the nice suburban lifestyle. I just think the movie should have done a better job at letting us sit in the discomfort it wanted so badly to establish. So, I'll now list off things I did like about this movie. First off, Jane Addams making an appearance was great. 10 out of 10. She's become one of my favorites. The pool scene when everyone realizes Ronnie is in the pool, it's extremely over the top and dramatic. It's a reflection on society. They literally are fleeing from a predator in the water, while the predator is wearing flippers in a pool. I really wanted to like Larry more. I think his redemption arc of trying to save Ronnie could have been delivered way better. Haunted by what he had done, he finds himself desperate to make amends with his past. I also like the disturbing insinuation that whenever Larry would have a bad day, or when he was drunk, he would go to Ronnie's house and berate them. And earlier in the movie, he opened up about how he was recently divorced. Strong implication that he might have acted the same to his wife and family before they left. Full of self-hatred, he goes on a vindictive vigilante spree without realizing he's only making even more people miserable. I also really wish I could applaud the ending, but it was so fucking rushed. It's a satire piece, so the whole everyone has a happy ending juxtaposed with Ronnie's tragic ending could have worked brilliantly if they'd just let it breathe. The movie is mocking society and all of the ugly shades of it. Therefore, ignoring mental health disorders and painting them in black and white is exactly how society behaves. You are this thing and nothing more. I just wish we could have sat in that more. Kate Winslet should do voice acting. The scream she let out at the football game. Change up the environment and... God damn. I also liked Marianne as a character. She's controlling, she's dominant, she's precise, she gets shit done, she's judgmental. It's like she's the walking embodiment of society. Eyes always watching, opinions always unsolicited, demands always made. There's no visible cracks in this demeanor, because she probably welded them shut a long time ago. Her self-destruction is inevitable, but we won't ever see it, and maybe she won't either. Lastly, there's Ronnie. My opinion is that he's the true main character of this movie. He's the mirror you find in a rundown bathroom, reflecting humanity back at society.
Wow, so deep.
His own tragedy is that his entire existence is meant to be on the back burner. And when someone who isn't his mother finally does take the time to look at who he truly is, he is reactive in his rawest manner. I'm not trying to be like, oh, cut him some slack. No, he clearly still needs fucking help. The movie just wants you to know that mental health exists, and this is how society responds to it. No one cared nor tried to help, except for Sarah, who then gets instantly distracted and, just like everyone else, abandons him. The only time someone finally cares for him is after he's self-mutilated and bleeding out. I could keep going. A part of me was going to read the book and make a comparison. Turns out someone else did this very thing, like almost 20 years ago. I'm not saying don't read, I'm just saying whatever. So here's the differences. Brad's name is actually Todd in the book. The movie completely cut out the part where Sarah's husband lies about a business trip and flies to California to attend a fan club meeting. Once this meeting is over, he calls Sarah to tell her he wants a divorce and that he wants to stay here in Southern California. Sarah's very ecstatic about him leaving her. In the book, Ronnie is somewhat overweight and fairly mean. He was verbally abusive to his mother, and Ronnie was extremely disinterested in his date. However, the date ends the same in both the book and the movie. Ronnie actually exposed himself to a Girl Scout and, wait for it, he killed another little girl that threatened to tell on him. Holy fucking shit. Larry actually once attacked Ronnie at a church for staring at his children. He broke Ronnie's arm and it never quite healed. The ending, however, is drastically different. In the book, Ronnie has his breakdown and flees to the park in hopes of finding someone he can vent to. There, he finds Sarah, who was waiting for Todd, or Brad. Larry showed up at the park because he was following Ronnie and was going to beat him up. Marianne shows up after having an argument with her husband, and the four of them end up sharing a smoke together, as Sarah discovers that she's relieved that Todd, or Brad, never showed up. To her, this is a happy ending. Her porn addict husband is now gone from her life, and she does not have to go through any more chaotic highs and lows with Todd. And also, most importantly, Ronnie never cuts off his dick in the book. So yeah, I feel that's vastly different. Would this have worked as an episodic series in the early 2000s? Probably the fuck not. Would it work now? Maybe, as long as they didn't keep any of the movie changes. Anyway, that's that. I don't really feel like doing an outro.